We have Magnus Carlsen's most incredible moments as world champion. This one right here is Viswanathan Anand with the white pieces versus Magnus Carlsen in 2013. Here we go. So this is a Nimzo Indian, same-ish variation, right? And the last move here was B3 from Magnus, just saying, hey man, I'm trying to queen this pawn. And of course, Anand is saying, I'm trying to mate your king. Cool, you can get your little queen. I'm just gonna try to checkmate you, right? So of course, this is a hint to move F5, B3. And he's like, cool. Viswanathan Anand says, hey, okay, you can get this queen. I'm going to try to go for mate. So he goes queen f4, get another piece in the game. This looks very, very dangerous here for black, but black's actually better. Wow. How? Okay, well, let's see what happens. In fact, black to move. What did Magnus play in this position? Knight c7. What the heck is going on? Knight to c7. He thought it'd be something spectacular. He was like, yeah, I'm waiting for this one. Oh, it's something spectacular, but it's just knight to c7. Defensive move. Cool. Allows f6 to happen here. f6 is going to take on g7. It's going to be kind of annoying, scary things happening with knight h5. What do you do in this position? Magnus plays g6. Okay, it's locked up. It's going to be scary if a queen gets to h6. Also, if the queen and a rook get to the h file, it's going to be a wrap for black here. Magnus is going to be mated. Okay, cool. So Magnus understands that. Vishy Anand understands that too and plays queen to h4. Where is he going, class? h6, right? He's about to mate. He's also trying to get the rook over here too as well. Okay, cool. With that being said, your move. What do you do now? It's black to move. Here's the move. Hence, knight c7 to put the knight on e8. The saying goes, a knight on e8 is actually f8. That's is what they say. There is no mate, right? So usually, depending on where this knight is, if a knight's on f8 or e8, it does control some very key squares that can stop you from getting mated. Now, Anand understands this. He said, oh, there's no more mate. That's cool. I'm gonna put my queen right here. What I'm trying to do is bring the rook up to f3 or f4 and actually go for this mate on h7 because you stopped the g7 mate. That's cool. Perfect. Well, Magnus understands this, so what does Magnus do in this position? Black to move. Here it is. Magnus says, cool, you want mate? Okay, that's cool, that's cool. Go for it, B2. Do your thing, big fella. Go ahead, Viswanathan Anand. Do it. So he says, okay, I will, young fella. Rook f4. He goes here and he's going for rook h4 mate. Wow, this is scary. Well, are you going to get your queen? You did all of this. Are you going to get your queen or not? Of course we are. B1 queen, right? And after B1 queen, knight to f1 from Anand. And the move here that seals the deal is what, guys? There's two queens on the board. Magnus has two queens, but is he getting mated or not? It's black to move. He goes queen e1, and then the game is over. The game ended right here, believe it or not. There is no more PGN, right? What do you mean, queen e1? How, what sense does that make? Well, let's see what happens. The idea here is after queen e1, where were you putting your rook? h4. Well, I can just go rook h4, but guess what? After I capture it, queen sacrifice, sacrificing one of my two queens. After queen takes h4, let's do a piece count. You have a queen, you have a bishop, and a knight. I have a queen, a bishop, a knight, and a rook, guys. So after that, this is done, right? I have an extra piece, an extra rook, and there's no mate here. So that's a resignation. And Magnus wins. That's incredible, right? Let's move to the next one. Okay, guys, here we are with our next one. Most incredible moment for Magnus Carlsen as world champion. Now, this one that everyone has seen before, does this bring back memories here? Feeling like we're going down memory lane here, as this is Magnus Carlsen versus Sergei Karyakin in 2016. All right, here we go. So last move was actually rook a7 from Sergei here. And rook a7 is just really annoying. Feels kind of menacing, but we are up an exchange here, and our king is definitely kind of weak. Magnus sees the danger and it just understands that I can do a lot of things here because you're only doing it with the rook, and my pieces are very close to my king. So let's see what happens. After rook a7, well, what do you do in this position, right? You played Magnus here. What do you do in this position? Here it is, right? I mean, I smell the danger, but it's a paper tiger is what they call it. We just take on f4. Queen f4, allow the check to happen. Okay, cool, he checks him. Rook a2, whose king is unsafe here? You gotta be very careful, right? King g1, you could be done. King f1, you could be done as well. I mean, king g1 is very scary. Boom, mate. King h1, and then you get mated on G2. Ouch. Okay, king F1, mate. Okay, can't block with the rook. Why did we take this pawn again? Okay, wait a second. Hold on. We do have a king move that is safe. King H1. Perfect. So we go king H1. It's very scary here because we understand that the mate was like all around our king and the queen just snapped a little pawn, right? Queen F2 from Sergey saying, hey, this is mate, right? And cool, you can trade queens, right? You can try it. You know, queen G3 is also a move here. After queen G3, I'm just going to maybe move away, hit the rook. And there's some problems. You have to try to figure out how you're going to make your king safe while trying to attack black's king at the same time. But Magnus has another thing in mind. In fact, a very, very good move in this position. But it's up to you to figure that out. What is white's move in this position? And the move here is a quite simple one. Rook C8 check. Easy, right? You have two moves, king H7 or bishop F8. Really, only one of them looks very good. Of course, bishop F8, the problem with that one is I can actually sacrifice the rook. The rook! Hey, sacrifice the rook! And then after king takes rook F7, right? Rook F7. And then I can go rook F8 and bring the queen in as well. A very nasty line. Sergey smells the blood in the water and says, ha, you're not about to get me, ha ha. King H7 happens, and this is a legendary game, a legendary move from a legendary player. You are gonna make this move right now. It's white to move. What did Magnus do in this position? Incredible moment from the world champion. Incredible. When it happened, it shook the world. Here it is. White to move played. Queen H6. Oh my goodness. Incredible resignation on the spot. Get him off the board. Queen H6, what a move. That's disgusting. It can be captured twice. Well, let's see what happens. If pawn takes, rook F7, mate. And if king takes, well, of course, rook H8, check, and mate. Beautiful. That was a sick and wicked combo and an incredible moment from an incredible player, the world champion Magnus Carlsen. Okay, guys, here we go with the next one. Most incredible moments from world champion Magnus Carlsen. This one is actually a very, very famous one. In fact, when it made history, right, as the longest game in world championship history, lasting 7 hours and 47 minutes. One game, right? Okay, cool. White pieces is Magnus Carlsen. Black pieces is Jan Nepomniachtchi in 2021. All right, check this out. Last move was king to G7 from Jan here. And then after rook to D2, just defending E2, maybe something like queen to D1, right? Maybe even doubling the rooks on the D file here. And then rook to C8 happens. Now, of course, a lot of you is like, wait a second. Can't I just? Well, of course you can. What do you mean? Well, it's white to move. Of course, try to figure it out. What did Magnus play in this position? Well, can't I just take it? Yes, you can, in fact. But you also can move the queen. But he says this is why he also had this in mind. Of course, when you play rook d2, you have to ask yourself, am I going to give up the queen for the two rooks? And he goes for it. World championship match. Why not? Game 6. I'm tired of these draws. Let's go. Queen takes c8, rook takes c8. And here we go. And when it happened, we was like, it's probably a draw here. But of course, there's a lot of moves. In fact, we're on move 27. And this move went literally 100 more moves. Right? All right, so we're gonna fast forward, in fact, because we're not gonna be here to talk about 100 more moves. So here after queen e4, queen h4 check is a thing. It also opens up the h file. He makes a decision, Magnus that is, to sacrifice back. Really just trying to play for a win, draw after draw after draw. Game 6, you know what, whatever. Sack the queen, give the rook back. Rook takes, and he's saying at this point, it's very hard for you to win, especially if you end up taking my rook here, right? And I have a rook and a knight versus the pawn versus the pieces, and my pawns are nice with a good structure. Could still be drawn, but it's practical and it's a human element. Okay, rook takes a3, queen h4 check, king g1, queen e4, right? And shuffling some more. 6 hours, 7 hours in, somebody's about to blunder something. Queen g6, rook f7, nothing happens still. He still can't take it due to knight g7 being just winning. F5, queen g1, and knight g7 still winning. We're gonna walk the king around. E7's also on top, and queenie. And Magnus wins. Incredible. Whole world went crazy here, and this actually made Jan crack, in fact, in a way, after all of the pressure, all the game, all the hours of playing there. That was incredible. Let's move to the next one. Here we are with the next one of Magnus Carlsen's incredible moments as world champion. This one is 2018. Of course, that's Fabulous Fabiano. Of course, when he played Fabi in 2018 here. This was the rapid tie breaks, of course, because they drew all the classical games. The opening here was actually a Sveshnikov Sicilian. And of course, there was not a loss with the Sveshnikov Sicilian from the black side, of course, with Magnus playing it, you know. So just to put that out there, if you like a Sveshnikov Sicilian, definitely check it out. Definitely served him very well in 2018, and still to this day, very strong opening. Right, okay, so Fabi's playing white. in tie breaks here, last move, rook to c1. He's putting some pressure here. What he wants to do is probably play push with c5, use the bishop and the knight, and do whatever damage he can down the c file here. So, of course, Magnus chooses bishop takes e2. And after queen takes, he understands that this queen is misplaced. So he goes queen to f5. Just puts it on a nice diagonal here. Maybe play e4, right? The light squares are kind of weak for white here. So we just want to do something with it. Maybe even put a knight on e5. But Fabi says, I got to move fast here. And he plays c5 immediately. This is a very strong move. But of course, it does hand the initiative to black slightly. But how? Okay, it's black to move. What do you do in this position? You're playing as Magnus. What do you do? Okay, the move here after c5 is, don't worry about it. Look, king safety, chat. Castle the king. Get the king out the center. What you gonna do? Take the pawn? Activate my bishop? So Fabi says, no, I'm gonna play c6. Actually, well, I wanna pass pawn. Right, pass pawns must be pushed. So, okay, we must push it. Well, then, if he's pushing a pass pawn, he's hitting b7. There's only kind of one right move here to do, right? And that's take on c6. So we take on c6. He takes back. Now we could play d5 at some point, right? But the d5 square is opened up. Maybe we go e4 right now, which is a possible move. But, of course, Magnus had another thing in mind, which also is the #1 move on the engine. Let's see if you can find it at home. Black to move. What did Magnus do in this position? The move here is rook f to c8. Very nice, because you want to be able to even tuck the bishop on f8 if you can. It also attacks this, and this rook is defending this pawn. It also can go up to maybe a5. White goes queen to c4. He wants to defend it, push it. Also as well, put knight on d5 here, okay? So, and remember, you know, this, he wants to put pressure on a4 as well. Everything on the c file. That's what we talked about before. Magnus plays bishop to d8. We can also use this for bishop a5 and etc. You see this a lot in the Najdorf Sicilians, or even just this pawn structure period with the bishop on e7, right? The pawn structure is the same as many Sicilians, but the themes and ideas are definitely the same. Rook after c8, which you see in a lot of Sicilians. Move the bishop from e7 to d8 because it's a very bad piece, and it goes over to this side of the board, right? Fabi understands this. He says, knight d5. Now it's time to push the pawn to c7, right? Put the knight on a very good square. You got some problems. You got some things you need to answer here, Magnus. And you got some things you got to answer too, chat. What is it? Black to move. Okay, the move here is e4. E4, right? Put the pawn on e4. Remember, we talked about the light square weaknesses, and we would love what kind of piece to go there. Raise your hand. I'm sure you got some ideas already. I'm sure you're already thinking about it. c7 happens, right? So we're just going to move the bishop. I mean, you can, but the best move is just take it, which he did. He take capture, knight takes c7, and then knight e5 with tempo, attacking the queen, and d3 and f3 squares are very weak as well, right? And then Fabi loves to calculate. He loves tactics too as well. So he goes for a tactic, but it doesn't work. The move here he played was knight d5. Whoa, relax. You're going to have to relax, my brother. Knight d5 is a very wild move, right? You take my queen, I take yours, right? Ooh, that's crafty from Fabulous Fabi here. Now, of course, knight d5 actually has a problem to it. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Black to move. The move he played here is very simple. Now, you have two ways of doing this, but the move he chose was just get it. You could play king f8, but I mean, he just wanted to get out of all type of checks and etc. So he played king h7, and the game is over. Well, why is it over? Well, let's see. The queen, first off, is defending this rook. This rook is defending this rook, which is hitting the queen. So if you move the queen somewhere, well, we also have knight d3 check on tap, right? Of course, so all your threats are done. Everything you had is now gone, right? So knight d3 is going to come with tempo checking. I'm also going to pick up some material. The knight is here. What a move. Just king h7, sidestep, and have a nice day. And I'm still world champ here. That was nice, even taking it to Fabi in that game. Very tactical towards the end there with his Festnikov Sicilian. That was incredible. Let's move to the last one. Here we are with our last incredible moment from Magnus Carlsen as the world champ. This one is Magnus Carlsen versus Viswanathan Anand in 2014. Okay, Magnus is playing white here, and this is a crazy one. Let's see what happens. Let's see if you guys remember this. In fact, rook d to g8 was the last move from Viswanathan Anand. After rook d to g8, here it is, king to d2. What is this move right here? Now, this one was a very, very crazy thing. The internet blew up about this afterwards because it was an oversight that happened right here. There was an oversight for both sides, missed by Magnus and by Anand in this position right here. It's black to move, in fact. Magnus playing white, but it's black to move in this position, and black missed something incredible. What is it? Black to move. In the game, Anand plays a4, but he actually missed. They both missed this. Knight takes e5, and this could have changed the trajectory of the whole tournament, of the whole match. In fact, knight takes e5, right? After knight takes e5, whoa, what is going on, right? Of course, loose pieces drop off, but that's the problem here. Loose pieces drop off. The rook is very loose. So after the move knight takes e5 here, which is just winning a pawn, after rook takes in between move, it'd be nice if there was a check, but there's no check. But there's a check for black though. Knight takes c4, boom. He missed this, but he's like, wait, I just step up on the game, on the knight, right? And then he goes knight b2, another in between check. Wow. Now the king is too far away to attack it. King has to move somewhere. We take, we're up a clean pawn here, right? Now, of course, there's still some precision from black, but that was definitely a huge oversight, and g2 is hanging too, even if you take h6. Huge oversight from both of them. They missed it. It didn't happen in the game, right? And also if rook takes e5, then we would do rook takes g4, completely winning for black. Definitely missed by both of them. After king d2, Anand plays a4. Magnus didn't give him a second chance. King e2 and says, now if you take it, there is no checks anymore. It was really bad. It was a very, very smooth and cruising win for Magnus after that oversight from both of them. That's incredible. And these were incredible moments from the world champion, Magnus Carlsen. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if you did, then make sure you guys watch the ones right after this. We'll see you on the next one.